So now I'm going to show you how to create the Works Cited page. So in a prior video, I showed you how to create the header, which is up here in the header space of the essay. I showed you how to create the heading, which is at the very top of page 1. Now what I'm going to show you how to do is create the Works Cited page. And as I've told you many times before in previous videos in this class, we want to create the Works Cited page at the very beginning when we're first creating the essay. So I haven't written anything in my essay yet, but I've already done my research. I know what my sources are going to be. So for example, for essay 1, if I already know the film or book that I am analyzing, and I already know that I'm going to be citing Beowulf, then I would know that those are the two sources that I need to have in my Works Cited page. Remember, the reason why we create the Works Cited page first is so that we have the information that we need for the in-text citation, because what goes in the Works Cited page signal phrase is what goes in the in-text citation. So I'm going to create my Works Cited page, and I'm just going to start it right here, because I'm going to show you a little trick, just like I did with the header, to make sure that the Works Cited page always appears on its own page, always as the last page of your essay. So we know that the Works Cited has a title called Works Cited, and then my citations begin immediately afterward. Okay, so I would left justify, only the title is centered. All of the citations are created with a hanging indent. Okay, so I'm going to plop in the citation that was used in the sample student essay. Okay, so typically once you've typed in the information that you need for your Works Cited citations, and this one could either go this way, which has the screenwriter's name first, or it could start with just the name of the film, depending on whether I needed to talk about the name of the screenwriter, or if I was just going to reference the name of the film. So if I was just going to reference the name of the film, it would start with the name of the film. If I was going to reference the screenwriter or director, it would start with the name of the screenwriter or the director. So you saw these two different versions of how to cite a film in the slideshow, in the Works Cited slides, in the feedback for essay number 1. But what a lot of students struggle with after this point is, I know I'm supposed to have a hanging indent here, right? So how do I get a hanging indent? Well, there's a pretty easy way to do this in Google Docs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these two citations. And then I'm going to go up here to the ruler that's up at the top of the page. And I know that I need the hanging indent to be, the hanging indent needs to be justified all the way to the left. And then all the subsequent lines need to be 1/2 inch in. So I'm going to take this in 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to go to the top line, the top little blue rectangle. And you'll notice when I put my mouse over it, it says first line indent. I want the first line to not be indented at all. So I'm going to drag that back to the margin, and you see what it did? It created my hanging indent. So now all my future lines are indented, and the first line indent has no indentation at all. And that creates what's called the hanging indent. This is super important because this part that's sticking out, that's the part that's going to go in the in-text citation. Okay, whatever this part is that's sticking out, it creates a roadmap between the Works Cited page and the essay. So if I'm creating a line in my essay, and I need to show that that line came from or references something from the film, then I know that I'm going to need to show that in my in-text citation, and then it'll match my Works Cited page. So I'm going to take out this first, because I'm deciding I'm going to write my essay I'm not going to be talking about the screenwriter at all because it's not important to my essay. So I'm actually going to be citing just the title of the film first. So To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Good rule of thumb is in the in-text citation. So you're getting a little bonus lesson here about in-text citations. Good rule of thumb is that you're only going to include the first the first 3 or 4 words, just enough to map your reader down to your Works Cited page. So that's just a paraphrase or summary of part of an interpretation of the film. And if I wanted to cite that to the film, it's going to be in italics, just like the signal phrase is here. And I'm going to use the first 4 words because To All the Boys makes more sense than just To All or To All the, which would cut off the beginning of the subject. So I'm going to say To All the Boys, and then I would put in a timestamp if I had one. In this case, because I'm not citing any specific like dialogue from the film, I don't need to timestamp it because I'm summarizing something that happens in the film. So I would just end it right there. So you see that the information that's in the in-text citation, it matches this, what we call signal phrase. This is the reason why we use a hanging indent in the works cited page, is so that it sticks out, so that it acts like a sign from this entry to this entry, to show a reader who was reading my essay where that information came from. They could go down to my works cited page and find that really quickly with that signal phrase. Okay, so that's just a quick little refresher about what goes in the in-text citation and why it goes there. Last thing I want to show you for Works Cited is how do we make sure that this page always appears at the end, no matter what comments you add, no matter how you revise the paper, no matter how long or short the paper is. How do we make sure the Works Cited page always appears at the end on its own page? There's a trick, just like there is a trick for making sure that the header always appears in the header and that the page number always advances no matter how long your essay is. You do the same thing with the Works Cited page by inserting a page break. So you look, I put my cursor right here in front of the W for Works Cited, and I'm going to go up to insert, and I'm going to insert a break, and I'm going to choose page break. Okay, so insert, break, page break. When I do that, it automatically moves the Works Cited down to its own separate page at the end of my essay. So see, my essay is only this long right now, so it goes down to the next page. If I keep writing my essay here, let's just say I'm writing blah, 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 blah. Look it, the Works Cited isn't here anymore. Where did it go? It went to the next available blank page at the end of my essay. And that will keep happening as I keep writing my essay, blah, 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 blah. The Works Cited page will stay. Look, I'm on page 3 now where the Works Cited page just was. It's not here anymore. Now it's on its own separate page because I kept writing my essay. So just like the header, we want to make sure that the system knows to automatically put the Works Cited page on its own separate page at the end of the essay, no matter what we do here. If you format it this way, it will always stay there. Same thing with the trick I showed you about the header. If you format it the correct way, it will always stay in the right place. So it's not about it just looking right on the page. You're not printing these essays anymore. In the old days, we used to print out these essays and hand them to the professor. So as long as it was in the right place on the page when you printed it out, they wouldn't know if you didn't format it correctly in your word processor. But nowadays, everything that we do is done digitally, including when you submit these papers, you're submitting them digitally. And oftentimes college students will submit their papers for publication, and they will be reviewed by publishers for the potential of being, printed as an article or printed in a school paper or going into the archives for the school. And in that case, it's very, very important that they're digitally formatted correctly, because if this gets downloaded as a PDF, if it gets shared with other people, we want to make sure that everything stays where it's supposed to. Or if comments get added to it, or if you end up revising the essay later, if your professor ends up adding revisions to your essay, you want to make sure that it stays perfectly formatted. That's how you make sure that it is. Okay, so I just went over Works Cited and briefly went over how you can use the Works Cited to create your in-text citations using the signal phrase. I showed you how you can make sure your Works Cited page always appears at the end of your essay on its own separate page. And in the prior videos, I showed you how to create this header and I showed you how to create this heading. Thank you for your attention. I hope that helps you with formatting your essays. Have a great day.